Hey everyone, I'm gonna release some build orders for each god from each civ in the coming days. So today we'll be sharing the Egyptian build orders. And keep in mind, this is day one of the new patch, so these build orders are not going to be crisp and clean, but they'll be good enough for you to get started. And to be honest, guys, the build orders hasn't changed all that much. That's the truth of it. But we'll be we'll be doing that anyways. Just I think a lot of people would want this information out there, so that's what we're doing. So first of all, the pharaoh and the villager builds a monument. I'm playing Ra here, obviously. Pharaoh villager goes to monument, and the priest helps set up the granary. As soon as the granary is up, we don't need the priest empowering anymore, so he can go scouting. So that's 4 on food in total now, and we go on a straggler tree next to the gold mine. You'll see why shortly. For the priest, by the way, we don't have gold for obelisks as of right now, so we want to place the obelisks forward. So we're heading there. We don't even need to scout very much with Ra around our base because we have berries that we can go to. So finding nearby hunt, not that big a priority at all. Second villager goes on the gold mine too. And you can start helping out with the town center, killing the zebras like this. Small little things you can do to help yourself out. This villager, by the way, instead of sending his wood over to the town center, you could have built the mining camp. He would have placed his wood there automatically, but it's okay. Alright, so here's a good little trick. When you're playing Ra, placing obelisk, we want to place it like this. Because you can see the radius, it can see if he builds a town center. And it's really good. So we can make a shifting sands play. Or we can send sphinxes there if that's what we've got. Or, you know, just the knowledge of knowing what they're up to. 3 on gold now. We're gonna stop there for now. And actually this guy, let's start building some houses. Make sure that you empower it, and then you move on the obelisk. I think 3 on gold will suffice here. It obviously depends. If you want to build more monuments for sphinxes early on, you're going to need 1 or 2 extra on gold early on. But for this build, we're just going to go for 1 monument in the K gauge. I'm force dropping gold here. It's not even necessary. I think with the villager changes, there's been actually a bit more versatility in what you're allowed to do. I don't think the build orders are as strict anymore as they used to be. So I honestly think a K gauge has been easier with this change here. I'm building all the houses that I can here. This is personal preference. I just like getting it over with, you know. This villager building a granary next to the berry bush. Since I've got the monument here empowering everything, it's the kind of play you can get away with. Once again, it's just something I like. And after this villager here, I'm just gonna pause. If you want to, you can advance after this villager. Depends on the matchup when you want to advance, but in most matchups, honestly, I don't think there's much use of advancing early. But let's say you're versus Poseidon. You maybe want to advance early, so I'll just show you how to do that. You take these guys, force drop like that, and then you go Ta. Let's go Ta. And then, as I was saying, it all depends on what you want to do. With Ra, there's so many options. But let's say we want to go for a 2 TC boom. We're not going to need much food at all, in fact. So one little cute trick we can do is build an additional priest here. Send a lot of villagers over onto gold now. And that's 10 on gold, and we only have 2 on... Wait, yeah, 2 on food here and 1 on food there. And this guy just keeps scouting. We're sending the pharaoh over to the mining camp because this is just... this means that these guys are getting more resources. And all in all, it's worth it. Also, another thing, if you want to use shifting sands as soon as you hit classical age, the pharaoh is already in position, as you're going to see. Remember what I said about you don't necessarily want to advance very early? This is also why, because you see, when I advance now, I don't even have the resources for my town center. So consider this when you ask yourself, how early should I be advancing? Well, you don't want to advance so early like now, where I don't even have the resources to use my classical age for anything. Soon enough, I will though. Now we can shifting sands here. This is kind of cute play, right? And see, the pharaoh is in position, and there's 0 walking time when you do this little trick here. By the way, this is not the cookie cutter strategy with Ra. It's like I've been saying throughout. You can do all kinds of stuff when you're playing Ra. And one of the more versatile gods in the game for sure. So play around with him, especially with all these new changes to buildings. Maybe you want to get the watchtower as soon as possible. Maybe you want to do shifting sands. You can do something really cool that you can do, I think, is using shifting sands in heroic age. And then you can pluck down a Migdal at a really good spot. So for example, if these are the only 2 really good gold mines for your opponent, use shifting sands here really early and pluck down a Migdal here. That would be devastating. Yeah, tons of stuff to do. Hope this is a good starter for Ra. Okay, finally we got Isis, and we got Elysium back in the map pool. That's really nice. This is one of a lot of people really like this map. They were saddened that this map had left the map pool, but it's back now. So we'll be showcasing I guess something like a fast heroic could be fun with Isis. As always, keep in mind with the Egyptians, you have so many options available of what you want to do. So what I'm showing here is just a way to get started, you know. If you want specific build orders for specific strategies, maybe you should consider looking up high-level players for specific matchups, specific strategies, see what they're doing. Because whether you're going for 2 TC boom, fast heroic, classical fighting, 2 TC fast heroic, you know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with Egyptians. But once again, what I'm showing is just a stock standard opener, and then you can adapt to it however you like. Here, we're getting 8 wood from the straggler tree, and then we're building the mining camp. Reason being, with Isis, we get cheaper upgrades, cheaper technologies, so we just need 8 wood for our pickaxe. And we can pre-queue Blood of the Nile already. Great technology to get for Isis. I always get it as soon as possible. And just get that pickaxe in as well. So we're gonna go 4 on to gold immediately here. 4 on food, then 4 on gold, and the rest we'll send over onto food. As always, I try to kill the deer or the gazelles next to my granary, so as to minimize walking time for our villagers. And also trying to stop them from clumping into each other. Do stuff like this as well. Get your villagers in position without losing too much tempo momentum while doing it. Always look for relics like this relic, 6 free monkeys. It's such a good relic. So already now I know if I can get an early priest upgrade on a map like this, I'm definitely gonna go for that. So I'll just show you how I'll adapt to that. Keep my priest near this relic here so that I can take it. It's a high priority relic in the middle of the map. So we want to rush that. It's kind of hard though, because you see now we're getting Flood of the Nile. We pre-queued it and now we're getting it. That means that we need 150 gold for the temple, and then we need 100 gold for the priest. So we may be a bit off of it. Here we're having a lot of villagers on the same gazelles. It's time that we spread our villages around like this. We need the temple up. We'll actually... We need the 100 gold for the priest, so we're not going to use too many villagers for this. Gonna be a late advance here, so one thing you can definitely consider is getting more villagers on gold early on. Nevertheless, like I said, just a starter. It's a good starting point for your build order. It's not that late advance actually. We'll get this upgrade. Yeah, it's a fine advance. As always, you want to adapt if you're versus Kronos, Poseidon, gods that are really good at rushing. Poseidon, Kronos probably the main targets. You want to adapt so you have more on gold early on, so you can get your temple down earlier, thus you can advance earlier. And maybe even forego the Flood of the Nile if you really fear the rush. And let's get a second monument as well. We'll go straight fast heroic here. I don't know if this is going to be a strategy that's going to see a comeback. I think maybe it will. With the change in villager times. Means I think 2 TC Boom not going to be as potent, and potentially your heroic age spike going to be even more important. It's all a bit unclear at the moment what these changes are going to mean. So a nice little trick you can do with Isis here is once these guys are done, we build a market. We empower. We use all our villages for this, so we maximize the empowerment here. So I think after this next villager here, we should definitely be able to advance. Buy this. Get another villager, and then we'll just, like that. Gonna be a very fast heroic age timing here. But because we've done our macro this way, you see we're gonna get a lot of gold income still. This guy, of course, he's ready for Ancestors Eclipse. That is what he's looking for. I've said this in the other build orders. I don't know if you've seen them by now, but this is not like with Egyptian. There's so many strategies you can go for. This is by no means the quote-unquote correct one, because there is not one correct one. You can do so many things while playing Egyptians. Just showcasing one potential strategy that you can go for. So what we're doing here is we're setting up for Amygdal. Centaurs are worse versus myth units now, by the way. The great change. I'm happy they introduced that. I think it was a bit too much in the earlier patch. Get in there. I mean, he's got ceasefire, so in this particular instance, the strategy is a bit troll. But we're walking in now anyways. Clips as well. We can find some bills. The AI, of course, playing very strangely. A real player would never play like this. With units in their base at this point. There's a ceasefire. Either way, we still have resources for more Scorpion Men. What do they cost? 200 wood. So if we didn't have ceasefire, this would have been an amazing Ancestors Eclipse. Would have dealt a lot of damage to them, especially if they went for 2 TC Boom. There would be many places that you could use these Ancestors at. But still, we're just gonna follow up with Camels, Chariot Archers, we're gonna have 2 Scorpion Men, all kinds of stuff. Oh, we have our monkeys. We've got to use those. We auto-queuing villagers onto food here. Reason being, we had only one during transition, so we really need to get a lot more now. But yeah, that's the Ice Space Heroic, and then you flock them with Mickel units. That's the idea, anyways, right? Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys later. Alright, we're gonna go in with Set now. And in the Ra tutorial, in the Ra build order, I showed a 2 TC boom with Ra. With Set, I'm gonna show some classical age fighting. I think that's probably what Set is more primed for. So that's what we'll be doing. A bit difficult here in the beginning. We're gonna send 2 villages to Extracted Tree. And we want to build a monument. Then these guys rolling. As I've said in other videos, as other people before me have said, that is one of the more difficult gods to play in terms of managing your economy, using build orders and stuff like that. So here we get 20 wood from this straggler tree, and then these 2 goes on to build the granary. And we build the monument with the pharaoh, we switch the empowerment around to the granary, and now we have enough wood for pickaxe when we get this thing up and running. You can use vision here, there's no shame in using vision. So it's 4 on food, and we're gonna send, let's say, 2 on gold. Doesn't matter that he sees this, he can't actually stop it. It's Berserk anyways. Oh, I forgot to get the pickaxe. It's okay.
Greek.
Finito.
And as always, just ensure that your villagers are working efficiently. Do you want to minimize walking time? One way to do that is by always having a few carcasses down, not just one, because what happens then is that your villagers are going to surround it, and they're going to be walking into each other and stuff like that. Very annoying. Once again, I'm going to be building all my houses. Like I said, it's personal preference. I just want to get this over with. And let's add a 3rd to gold as well, because we're going to need the temple at some point soon. Add 1 more to food after this. See how all my villagers are working 100% efficiently. And another thing you can do, it's not really relevant here, but I'll just showcase it. You take a villager like this, and then you shoot this guy over into the granary. Ah, I actually did a poor job here. Slightly off center with this guy. And here, when I can afford the temple, I'll just make 3 gold miners build it. Because we want to plug this down rather fast, so that we can get a nice advance off. I imagine it's going to be something like a 4:15 or something in that ballpark. It's going to be alright. See this? Now my villagers are beginning to be a little bit inefficient, so I need to fix that. And we'll be advancing through Anubis. And all our deer, by the way, we should probably just send them over here. Now with this build order, very, very versatile. We're not even aiming for anything in particular here, other than just fighting classical age. So let's actually also... Nah, we can't even afford wood. So you gotta keep in mind, you get fewer villages than you're used to here. So there's if you advance at 4 minutes and 15, you can actually afford fewer things than you used to be able to afford. Like usually you would be able to get a few villagers on wood here. It's quite difficult here actually. Because we want to build a barracks, we want to be able to start spamming spearmen as soon as possible. So one thing you can do is definitely this guy. Instead of building houses, you can put him on wood as soon as he's built, say, 2 or 3 houses.
Enito. Gereg.
Ensure that you build your barracks around the monument.
Kid. No.
Antio,
Ak. No.
Jireh, Ak.
You can get an additional Anubite here. You can already pre-queue the upgrade because it's very good.
Ine Jireh, Hayo,
Bring up things new.
Now we can just start going aggressive.
I you refer.
And what's really nice about set, of course, shouldn't have to be said here, but
Kid.
you don't have to move your villagers, as you can see. So you're continually hunting with no downtime, and right next to your granary is a really good advantage to have.
Tayo. UIR. Entio.
There we go. Now we can really start mounting a lot of pressure. If you're versus Norse, like we are here, for example, obviously this is the AI, so it doesn't matter too much. But you can apply a lot of pressure with Lake of Serpents plus your units that you're getting out here. Just use Lake of Serpents anywhere, really. We have the upgrade kicking in as well, so we're going to be super annoying.
And Tayo.
Yep, that's it. That's the set Classical Age start. And like I said, the big advantage of this is that you steal your opponent's hunt, your villagers are constantly working, and your economy is going to be very, very strong. You'll be able to go raiding with the Anubites. You can really start getting map control early on when you're doing stuff like this.
Into you.